It's, end of the season. What are we going to talk about for the next sort of 6 or 7 weeks? We'll have to find something, but we can start on the end of Arsenal's season. So they finished their campaign with a 2-1 win at relegated Southampton. Pretty much a case of just, get the job done and dusted, which they did. A wonderful moment for Kieran Tierney to score on his last Arsenal appearance. I'm sure, just like me, you had the biggest smile on your face when that goal went in. It at the same time brings back, what could have been with Kieran Tierney. We all thought he might go on to be Arsenal captain. It's not worked out that way. So as wonderful as that goal was, does it bring back, what could have been with Kieran Tierney, just like how much of a shame it is that things haven't worked out the way we thought they would.
Yeah, in a way, I suppose. But I mean, he's had 6 years at the club. He's had some really good times. He's won a trophy. He's hugely popular. I agree. It hasn't quite worked out how we probably thought it was going to. Maybe even like halfway through. By the time he signed his sort of new contract, the contract extension. Like you said, he was integral part of the team. Lots of people thought, myself included, thought he had a good shout of potentially being future Arsenal captain, all that sort of stuff. But see, the injuries just really, really took their toll with Kieran, and the amount of time he was out the side and not available, the side just kind of moved on without him. The direction of the team, how they played, what Mikel Arteta wanted from his left back, it just all really sort of changed and moved on without Kieran Tierney while he was injured. So, yeah, I think there's some regrets in terms of we didn't probably get as much out of Kieran as we could have done while he was here, but we still really enjoyed him while he was here. He's such a hugely popular player. And I described him, I was talking to someone about him, and I think the early days of when he first arrived and the sort of end of Emery, the start of Mikel, he was kind of like that. He was like a beacon of light that we all had. I think the way he played, the dross that we'd had in defence at times over years, sort of building up to it. And suddenly we had this real fighter, this guy who kind of felt like one of us, a throwback, an old school warrior almost in the way he played football and the fight that he had, the intent that he had, the way he bombed forward down that left hand side. We could all just really, he just felt like one of us. And I think that's why everyone grew so attached to him and the way he played his football. And he was such an integral part at the start of the whole transformation under Arteta. And I don't think any of us will ever forget that. That's why he's so popular. That's why at St Mary's on Sunday, I was sitting opposite the away fans and they were just singing his name for 90 minutes. And like you said, the goal was such a great moment. You could see on his face what it meant to him to get that goal as well, and then to run off and celebrate with the away fans. It was really, really special. So rather than sort of focusing on what might have been, I think I kind of focused more on what it was, and it was a really fun ride having Kieran here. And yeah, I think as Mikel said afterwards, the doors are always open to this football club for him.
Certainly are, yes. I mean, like you were saying, it's good to focus on, the good moments, not the bad. Like you said, he's one of the few survivors left of the Emery era. Only really sort of him, Saka, and I guess Reece Nelson are still at the club. It's a shame that, well, obviously he had that loan at Real Sociedad, came back injured from the Euros. We thought, okay, that's it for him. But of course, the injury scuppered his chances of getting a move away. We thought, maybe this is completely it for him, but he did force his way back in, through nothing but sheer hard work and dedication. He rarely let Arsenal down when he played this season. Was there any case to keep him? Could he have offered something next season, do you think?
I think he could have offered something, but I don't look. He wants to be playing all the time, doesn't he? Look at his age, look at the quality of the player. I don't think that would be a very tough sell for Kieran Tierney if you're saying, okay, we'll give you an extension, but you're going to be, going back to sitting on the bench most of the time. So no, it was never going to happen. The good thing with Kieran is he had this extra year. Really, he was going to go last summer. And had it not been for that injury, he would have gone. He wouldn't really got his Arsenal goodbye because he would have been at Sociedad and then he would have just gone. But he's had this 6 month goodbye now where he got back from the injury, got himself back into the first team picture, played minutes, got his goal, had this big goodbye. So I think we've had like an extra year of Kieran that gave us all an opportunity really, and him to say goodbye to the club and the fans and vice versa as well. So I think that was a really nice moment and a nice sort of send off for him. But yeah, I think it would have been an incredibly tough sell for Arsenal to try and keep him.